Okay, welcome back. Switching gears a bit, but staying with the same set, politics. My guest this time is Prince Adewale Adebayo. He is the SDP, Social Democratic Party presidential aspirant. Well, I shouldn't say the, because there are also two ladies in the race in that party, and I think one other gentleman, yes, in addition to your good self.
An eminent gentleman.
Yeah, a professor.
Yes, professor, yes.
Okay, but here we're concerned about your aspiration, because you would be president. First of all, if your party agrees, you picked up a 35 million naira form, and that is no beans, as we say locally. If that doesn't show seriousness of purpose, I don't know what will. Even though there are parties that actually go as high as 100 million naira, but as I was saying, 35 million is no change as well. It shows seriousness of purpose. Now, you would be president, Prince. It's like one, of course, is going to know. So, what can Prince Adebayo offer? What does he want to? What is he going to bring to it? And that's why you are here. Now, let me just kickstart it, because you've said in the past that in our country, in our beloved country, we have many problems, but the solutions are known. And leadership has consistently shied away from those solutions. Would you like to elaborate?
Thank you very much. First, we have problems that are human problems. They are not natural problems. There are some countries that their problems are natural, not human cause. I lived in California for many years. We will have 7 years of drought, no matter what we do. You have the best hydrologists who cannot escape it. Mm-hmm. In Nigeria, no natural problem. Now, in economics, the whole idea of economics, with all the books written on economics, is based on the principle of scarcity. That in an environment of scarce resources, you have to make economic choices. In Nigeria, no scarcity. Every developmental resource that we need is in abundance. There's no scarcity of human beings. There are some countries that want to develop, they have to import labor. We don't have to. They have to import food. We don't have to. They have to import water. We don't have to. So that's what I'm saying, that our problem, some countries have to import, the whole of politics, geopolitics of Europe, is that you have to import gas. That's why everybody's looking towards Russia, Ukraine, what happens. We don't have any of this. So it narrows down to one thing, that we have a leadership problem. Now, if you address that leadership problem, then you have solved all our problems. So you narrow it down to leadership. Now, what do you do about leadership? To change the leadership, you have to expand the leadership pool. You can't have 30 people who for 60 years have to choose themselves to become the leader of the country. And when you have done it, and people have forgotten your errors, they wait for some years. When people have forgotten your errors, they go and bring you back again. So we said, no, what you can do, if you want to change the country, and you know that leadership is the problem, then you need to put more people into the leadership pool. And how do you put more people in the leadership pool? You put them into politics. And you test them out about how they understand the issues in the country, how they understand the ideas, and they can start propounding solutions to them. Then you look at their life, if they live up to 40 years, then you look at what they've done with their life. Have they spent each decade or half a decade of their life wisely? When they were in school, were they good students? When they work, were they good workers? When they went to business, were they ethical? When they went to public service, are they efficient? Are they patriotic? Then you test them on whether they understand the issue at stake today. Mm-hmm. Then if you put all that together, then you can now choose them as a leader, because you have nothing to lose. You have been choosing from that same pool. You've gone for experience. You've experienced a terrible experience. You've gone for history. It has become a nightmare. What you do now is you go for a vision, and you go for a country that is coming in the future. So for us, what I want to do is this. I've looked at all the problems facing the country, and I've seen that our leaders, you could assist them, which I've done in the past. There's no head of state that can honestly say I have not sent something by way of advice. But it's not that they don't know what is right. It's that what is right has a price. And that price requires selflessness, requires that collegial idea that when I'm in power, I share the resources of the country among my friends.
The old boy network.
Yes, I cover their errors. And I reserve position for your children, and you reserve for my children. And if they are competent or not, we don't care. And we can put the person in charge of critical infrastructure, and they can break it down. And if you are caught with 80 billion, and your uncle can call me, and I say, look at that small boy. Okay, well, don't worry. Let them make noise for 3 months. After, I will help him out. So all those things are the reason why we are not progressing. It's not like our problems defy human nature. No, if you call the guild of editors in Nigeria and choose one of them, he will be a good president if he can do what I want to say now. If he can do the work. If you go to government houses, as I do many occasions, you will see that the person who is elected as a governor or the person elected as a president may spend the substantial hour of the day not even doing the people's business. It may be with his party chairman that are discussing party issues. So they don't have time to treat the work. If you see a minister, he spends half of his time on things that don't have to do with his ministry. If you look at the permanent secretaries down, they don't have leadership to guide them because the leadership is calling them, where is the money in that place where I can divert to that other place? So it is not that our problems are so complicated that we are always in the church and in the mosque round the clock praying for divine intervention. You don't need divine intervention to clean your room if you have a broom. But if you don't want to do it, you can be looking for divine intervention. So the problem with Nigeria, I can go into detail, but let me give you an overarching organizing principle of my thought, is that a problem, however small, needs somebody who wants to solve them.
Okay.
If there's a person who doesn't want to solve them, or who, in addition to that, wants to use this problem to make money. So you have insecurity. I can send 2 battalions, 2 garrisons even, to go and knock them out. I realized, no, why should I do that? I can turn into 1 trillion naira budget and make my friends rich and become rich myself. And then when I turn into 1 trillion naira budget, I get used to it. Then I say, no, let me turn into a 7 trillion budget. It goes on like that, but it's a problem I can easily solve. Yesterday, my campaign managers were going to Zamfara State, and they called me back and said, oh, we are in panic. I said, what happened? They said, bandits stop us on the way. Then a few hours later, they called me back and said, oh, we can go now. I said, what happened? Did you see the army? He said, no. They call local hunters, and the local hunters chase away the bandits. So I said, oh, there are bandits in this country that local hunters can chase away. But the army cannot chase away. So that's an example. That can be anecdotal. It doesn't mean it's scientific. But if you do the research, you will find out that every problem from security to poverty to collapsed infrastructure are places where people make their money. There are people in this country who haven't done any decent job in 40 years. There's an estate out of our Commonwealth which is created for them. So they are in charge of the ports. They sit down and collect rents. So we don't improve on the ports. Okay. We don't build new ports and things like that.
Let me come in here because Prince, you're a lawyer and a businessman.
Yes, sir.
In fact, you're also the founder of Kaftan TV, among other business interests. Now, I wonder if you are speaking more like a businessman and you don't have any experience, correct me if I'm wrong, in governance, which they say, I mean, it's not that it's an impossibility, but they say it's a great handicap if people come in with the private sector mentality into this hands-on job of being a politician in Nigeria. Give me your thoughts on that particular line of thinking.
Let me confess in public that I don't have any experience in bad governance. So I have not been part of those who have been misgoverning the country. So that lack of experience in doing bad things, I admit. However, when you want to take a decision in the public sector, the only difference is that the money doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the people. Everything you do in managerial field, both private sector and public sector, they are the same. You can go to writers like Peter Drucker and all of that. I don't want to go academic. If I am managing this station, it's a private station. The same principle if it was a public station. Okay. Apart from the fact that maybe the profit interest or profit motive is downplayed. But if I need to provide electricity, I need to provide it. It doesn't matter whether I'm in government or outside. If I'm managing armed forces, it's like managing a workforce. There are companies, private companies, that are bigger than Nigerian armed forces, if we're a fishing company in Japan. So what we need to understand is that leadership in public service is not about forming an alliance where, for example, we have this GSM principle, governor, senator, minister. So if you are a failed minister, you are in charge of housing, and people don't have housing, you cannot come to me and say, I was a minister, I have experience. No, because you can only say you had an opportunity to serve and you failed. That doesn't mean that you have gained expertise. If you were a governor of a state and you spent 8 years and bankrupted the state, you cannot say you have experience in managing a state. No, you will say, I was given an opportunity to manage a state, I mismanaged it. That should disqualify you. So it's like you are playing soccer and you have a goalkeeper and you put him in the goalpost, and in 30 minutes is considered 9 goals. It's not as good as the person who's coming afresh, because you might take somebody who is coming afresh. So that is what is happening. So you can only say you are good at it if you have been good at it.
Okay.
The fact that you have been given more opportunity than me doesn't mean that you are better than me.
So that would be like your initial comments on this whole question of experience.
Experience.
What kind of experience?
Yes. So secondly, I have represented government. I've advised government. I've consulted for government, Nigeria and overseas. And I have seen that I have experience of what is happening. Let me say what can happen to you if you have no government experience. You come to an environment, you don't know how decisions are made. You don't know the facts on ground. That's not my case. If you ask me, when it comes to every critical aspect in terms of security, it will surprise you that I know more about the strength of the military and the challenges they are facing than the commander-in-chief who is in charge of them but who doesn't listen to them.
Okay.
You can see in this country now that people are outside, have defense and security intelligence, that when things happen, people in government say, oh, really? I didn't know. You could see in terms of managing economics, when some incumbents who are there now, when they came in 2015, in spite of having been in government all their lives, they came back and said, oh, we are shocked. We didn't know government was
the state of the rot.
Yeah, but we who were outside have been advising them that this is what it is. Okay. So there isn't anything in government that is not about you first mastering the issues, having the facts, and surrounding yourself with competent people, such
as you described at the beginning. How to source these people, these kind of people.
Yeah, they are available. The only problem is that they don't have money to give to you to give to delegates.
Okay, 1 second, please. I beg your pardon for interrupting you, because Mr. Ade in the UK has called in. Good morning, Mr. Ade.
Good morning, Dr. Yori, and good morning to my brother sitting down with you.
Prince Adebayo, SDP presidential aspirant.
Exactly. I want to ask him a question. I mean, before somebody can pay 35 million, there must be a sum of billions somewhere else. How many people in this community have impacted their life? And why have we not heard about him anywhere at all, either in the newspaper or on TV or anywhere? This is my first time of seeing him. And third question is that, what gives him hope that he's going to win the election? Has he got another thought that losing 35 million, is he going to feel it or what? Those are my questions.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ade, but you were a bit unfair. 3 in 1? 3 questions in one?
They are simple questions.
Okay. Why has he not seen you before?
Yeah, no. Let's start with my community.
Okay.
First, 35
Have
million.
you impacted any in your community?
35 million is a lot of money, because I know many people are hurting in this country. But 35 million is not up to what I pay every month for scholarship for indigent students. So it's not a problem.
Every month?
Every month. And I have employees who work for me. I have over 1,000 employees who work for me. So I think I have to pay their salary and they have to feed their family. So 35 million, I don't disrespect it. It's a lot of money, but it's not money that I will do a sign of the cross before I spend, because Normally, I pay salary of my workers.
And you don't need supporters to come up with the money on
your
your behalf.
No, not at all.
You actually pay for that out of your pocket.
I pay for that out of my pocket, and I pay for so many things out of my pocket.
Okay.
If you look at the taxes, every year in my state, I get the Taxpayer of the Year award. And the governor of my state is an APC, it's not from my party. But every year, including this year, I got the Taxpayer of the Year. And NYSC, which is owned by APC-led government, gives me Employer of the Year. So you can accuse me of not been advertising myself, but it's not my job to advertising myself. It's the job of the journalist to look for developers of the community. If a person is hiring over 1,000 workers for the past 15 years, it is the job of journalists to know the person.
Okay.
If I practice law up to the Supreme Court of Nigeria, I practice law in the Supreme Court of the United States, I practice law in New York, I practice law in California, I practice law all over the world. I'm one of the rated arbitrators. I've been a fellow of challenge arbitrators since I was in my 20s. If all of that, it is for people who are in the media to search and criticize all of that. And if you Google my name, you won't have to struggle to know who I am. And I've been appearing on TV, giving opinion in this country since the year 2000.
Okay,
so
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yes.
Because I did so because you spoke there about your experience with the law.
Yes.
And I was going to seize that opportunity to ask what your thoughts are about the state of the rule of law in this country.
With due respect, there is no rule of law yet in this country. There is only rule of persons. Because, let me give you the benchmark. When there is a rule of law, change of government will not affect it. Because rule of law is where the law is no longer in the hand of the government to enforce. That is, a rule of law is that if I am in council as president, a police constable can send a note to me in council through the security that they want to arrest the Attorney General because he has just used his car to knock somebody on the way to council meeting. That's when you have rule of law. That is to say, the institutions of the state, like the police and all of that, they are free from government interference. And that when I'm in government, I fear the police as much as a man who is selling oranges on the street.
Okay.
So that's when you have rule of law. So we will get there. It's a journey we need to get to, but we need to define it well. So when they say, for example, a certain president is helping us with rule of law, you don't have rule of law. Because rule of law is not the party manifesto.
Okay, 1 second, please,
yes.
Because I've got to bring in a caller. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to your guest.
Okay, Prince Adebayo.
Uncle Yori, I don't know if you will allow me to say something on the former topic before this one.
Okay, but
yes,
if you can be very brief, please.
Yes, I wanted to ask the gentleman you interviewed, because he said so many things that are strange. That whether, as he was talking on TV, whether they do speak like that to the president in the party. He's already left. That will be a topic for another day. The gentleman before you sounds very, sound in mind. But my question is, the party and the platform he's using. SDP does not control even one state in Nigeria. How is he sure that his 35 million investment in this project will not waste on that account? Because
okay, Mr. George, I beg your pardon, because we've run out of time. Let me just shorten the question. I think you got the gist of the question.
Yeah, it's also aligned with the earlier one. Now, I understand the 35 million question, but 35 million, it can't make you president. With other people, more than thousands of people, young people are all over the country, pasting posters, talking to people. So 35 million is not the investment. The investment is the belief that the people have. Okay. The rest is in the hand of the voters. The way our republic is fashioned that you come out in politics to state your belief. You don't wedge, well, which party will I join, even if they are bad people or if their policies are not good. Where can I win? No, you go out and say, I have a new perspective to the problem of the country. Can I build a platform of fellow citizens so that we can even share ideas first? Then when we share ideas, can we now formulate a platform we can present to the people? It is now left for the people to see that the platform is credible.
Okay.
If you are going to vote, there is no law that says you cannot vote for a party that is new or that's not in power. in a state like Ekiti, for example, SDP is the leading. Journalists can ask any journalist. It's not bogus talk. So you could see that at any point in time, Nigerians have to open their mind to one thing, that let us allow for fresh ideas.
Okay.
And let us see whether this person can actually run a government. And one of the ways you can know if a person can run a government is that you will allow them to run a party and run a campaign. So watch us as we are running our campaign. We have a 9-month period to make our case to the public. Okay. And so by Christmas time, by January, you will now know whether we have explained to you why you can put your faith in our offer. Because what we are trying to tell you is that there are alternatives. I'm tired of people saying they don't have alternative. If you ask people, why don't you vote? I don't have alternative. I can't vote for this. I can't vote for that. Okay. So, but now we'll give you the alternative.
All right.
At the end of it, you will now decide whether the alternative is viable enough, but we have enough time and we're not in a hurry.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, Prince Adewale Adebayo, SDP presidential aspirant. Again, I look forward to speaking with you again.
It's a pleasure.
In the course of this particular journey.
Yes.
Thank you once again. Okay, so that's our program right there. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.